Hey there, CPO here, and while I'm waiting on replacement parts for my heli, I thought it would be fun to go ahead and rebuild the tail assembly. By the way, here's the helicopter in its disassembled state as I wait for parts. I do have a new main shaft coming, although I think this main shaft is fine, but I'm going to follow the advice of, if in doubt, just replace it, and I'll keep this as a spare. I'm pretty sure it's in good shape though. But when I did the wiring, remember one of my focuses was to have it so that I could make gear changes, replace gears, what have you, without having to undo any of the wiring. So in practice, that is working out the way I expected it to. I don't have to do anything with any of my wiring. Just basically pull off the one side panel and I have access to everything I need. So just wanted to kind of show that off because I had tried to fulfill that during the build, but you know, with anything, I wasn't sure how it was going to really work when it was time to replace things. But pull off the one side panel, have access to the transmission block. I didn't have any wiring going on this side. All the wires are on one side, which means I could pull this side off and have full access. So anyway, just a side note. But back to the tail. So one of the things that I had mentioned on this tail was that I was experiencing a little bit of slop, which tends to be, it's my understanding, that's fairly normal for this particular style of helicopter, whether it be Taro or the Align version. And as you can see, I'm just holding the link rod steady, and you can see as I turn the blades, I have a little bit of slop in there. And it's in all of these kind of plastic linkages. As a matter of fact, you can see right here where this ball, you can see some of that slop right in there. See, I'm not sure which angle is going to make it best to see. So anyway, there's kind of a lot of slop. All this arm here is plastic. This connection to the pitch slider arm is plastic. These control arms from the blade grips are plastic. So some of the upgrade parts I got were to replace all those with metal parts. So let me show you what I've got and what I'm working on here. So the first thing I have also is a metal piece that goes here for this this assembly here. There's a little plastic piece in there. Basically I have a metal replacement piece for this vertical stabilizer bar, and that's actually got that tab in it that's going to hold the entire assembly in place on the tail boom. So that's what that's for. In addition to that, I've got this control arm, which is aluminum control arm to replace the plastic one. This metal bearing assembly, again, to replace the plastic one. These are all Taro branded parts, by the way. And I got these from TaroRCHeli.com. These metal connectors between the blade grips and the pitch slider assembly are metal instead of plastic. And then I have the new style blade grips with the thrust bearings. So this is supposed to be an upgrade to the style that I have on stock. So I'm going to replace all that. In the end, my expectation is that all of that slop will be removed. I also have these cool neon tail blades. Why the heck not? Add a little color. And one more thing I have that I'm going to add that I'll put on later. This is a oh, what do you call this thing? I don't even remember what this thing is called. It's a cross member for the boom support that connects them together to reduce vibration in the boom assembly. And the other thing supposedly it's going to help with in theory is if you have a crash, it keeps these boom support rods from popping up and into your main blades. So don't know if I need it. It's kind of one of those things that you probably don't need it, but what the heck, I'm going to put it on anyway. So that's what I'm going to work on while I'm waiting for my replacement feathering shaft and main shaft and transmission gears. So I'm not going to go through that actual installation on the video. You've got access to my tail assembly build video. It's the same stuff. I'm just changing out a lot of the plastic parts for metal parts. So I'll show you the end result, but I don't see any reason to go through the actual build process because, like I said, it's the same. And I'm curious to see how it works because if you remember, when I did build this, I had to do a little bit of sanding on some of these plastic parts here to get them to work, actually right here, to get them to work without binding. So now I'm replacing that with metal parts. I'm assuming the tolerances are going to be much more precise. But anyway, that's what I'm working on. So I'll show it to you when I'm done. So this is the completed tail assembly. And basically, as you can tell, all of the formerly plastic parts on the tail assembly have been upgraded to metal parts. It is very smooth. The only thing that I don't like still is this particular connection point here where these arms connect to this bar right here where this screw is, and then of course if you flip it over, this screw here. What I don't like about those, and it's the same thing with the stock one, is if you make those too tight, then it creates a little bit of binding in the assembly. So these have to be just snug, but not tightened down. Otherwise, because it's basically clamping between two pieces. You know, and I hate the fact that I can't tighten something down, and if I make it too tight, it creates binding. But that's the design of that piece, and I fully understand. What I do like is up here, the top part of that piece is now a full bearing, as opposed to previously was kind of this captured brass sleeve with a screw through it. This is now an honest bearing assembly. So that's new. I've got these two bearings here on each blade grip. So that's super smooth. And like I said, you know, the only complaint I have is that I just wish they would have done something different with this bottom piece. But for space, I'm assuming, or what have you, it was probably pretty limited on what the options were. So these are in, you know, these screws here are not as tight as I wish they could be. But I do have some thread locker, you know, on the end inside there to try and hold that together. But the whole assembly is really quite smooth with where I have it set right now. So if you have this thing put together and you notice some binding or some stepping where it's like it moves in steps very easily and then stops, more than likely it's going to be these little pieces here. These screws are too tight. That's what I found out when I was doing the assembly. So as far as play, there's no more play at all in this assembly from basically from here on up. The only place that there's still some play is see if I can find a way. You can see here in the gears where the mesh is. There's a little bit of play there. I'm assuming there needs to be a little bit of play there anyway, because otherwise that gear mesh will be a problem. So you don't want to have too tight of a gear mesh. So I think that's going to be okay. So, but the actual all of the linkages are super tight. There's no play introduced as a part of any of this linkage assembly. So that's pretty cool. And like I said, everything is nice and smooth, easy to manipulate. And I do have here these fancy neon tail blades, which kind of cool. So that's where we're at. I think it was a pretty cool upgrade, easy to do, and fairly inexpensive. Not a lot of money invested in parts here. So anyway, that is my upgrade of the tail, and now I just wait for the rest of my parts to come in from the crash repair kit, and I'll be back up and running hopefully in the next couple days. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.